WLAC-TV inaugurated its electronic news gathering system October 14, 1974, with 2 Ikegami cameras and 2 vans equipped with microwave to feed stories live to the newsroom, and also equipped with Sony 3800 portable tape recorders for instances when a story cannot be microwaved. Because our ADI reaches from southern Kentucky to northern Alabama, we have a large stringer system which prevents us from going 100% electronic news. In putting together an electronic news system, we found that we had to rethink traditional ways of how we get a news story and what we do with it once we get it. But most importantly, we had to think of ways to reorganize our newsroom in order to make maximum advantage of the new technology now available to news gathering. The first decision we made was to keep the total news gathering function within the news department. That is, not physically separating the engineering aspect of it from the journalistic end. This meant establishing a master receiving console within the news department to receive live feeds from the field with editing facilities nearby. For a news department our size, about 30 people, we felt these 2 vital functions should be within close proximity to the anchorman producer and the assignments editor, now called the Electronic News Coordinator, or ENC. The change of name is more than cosmetic, for now the assignment editor's role is expanded to include not only dispatching crews, but he also coordinates live news inserts in our regularly scheduled newscast, and also when we interrupt our regular programming for late-breaking news events. He also designates which stories are to be taped on the scene and which are to be fed back live to the master receiving console. This organization recognizes one of the most exciting advantages of electronic news gathering, the active participation by the news director or the anchorman and the electronic news coordinator in the development of each story being sent in by microwave. They can see and hear the story as it happens, and by 2-way radio communication with the reporter on the scene, evaluate the story, suggest interview questions, or even relay late-breaking events unknown to the reporter that may affect the story in progress. We found this type of organization especially suited to the ENG hardware we had chosen. In order to make electronic news economically feasible for a station our size, we determined that at least 75% of our stories would have to be either tape or come in live. We decided we could reach this tape-to-film ratio with 2 identically equipped live-action cam vans, as we call them. One of the vans leaves the station at 6 a.m. to participate in our morning news talk show. The second van comes online at 7:30, earlier if necessary. They normally do not return to the station except to change crews until after the 10 o'clock news. The crew consists of a photographer, a combination driver security man, and sometimes a reporter, although the reporter often travels to the news event in one of the pool automobiles. Special training was given to newsroom personnel to enable them to get their second-class license to operate the microwave system. The 40 Econoline vans were modified for our purpose. A top platform was added to support a hinged microwave antenna assembly which can be quickly raised and oriented. The cameraman can also work from this platform. The output of standard 12-volt automobile batteries is inverted to provide 120 volts AC to operate the Microwave Associates MA2G transmitter, onboard television, and videotape unit, and to recharge the camera batteries. We have a 3,500-watt generator attached to the van's engine to provide AC lighting at night. A unique microwave receiving antenna system is located on the roof of a 33-story building in the center of Nashville. The NURAD Model 20QP1, consisting of 4 horns, each having a 90-degree horizontal acceptance angle. The engineer operating the master receiving console in the newsroom selects the horn providing the best picture through a tone-operated remote control unit. Often the microwave signal is bounced, so a story coming from the city's east side can be picked up more clearly from the south receiving horn.
Okay, Larry, when you get up there, let's move it to your right. I'm watching you down here. Go ahead and move it to your right. Come on, to your right. To your right, okay. Hold it right there. Okay, back down, tilt it down. Larry, okay, tilt it back up, please. Back up. Hold it right there, Larry. Let me check the plectron now and see if we can clear you up a little bit better. Okay, Larry, you can't get much better signal than that. We have you. Lock it in, and we're ready for your feed. KXB 253 through KXB 257 standing by.
At At times, it is not possible to have the cable running from the camera to the van, so each van carries a small window microwave unit, thus eliminating the necessity of stringing cable from the camera to the van. The transmitter weighs only 7 pounds and operates for 8 hours from its battery pack. Once the signal reaches the master receiving console, it is recorded on one of 3 Sony 2850 3/4-inch videotape recorders. Simultaneously, the signal is being recorded in the Edit Decision Room, or EDR. The tape recorded in the EDR will have the SMPTE time code on the tape itself for review by the reporter or editor, thus saving wear and tear on the master tape. At the time the tape is being recorded, a shot sheet describing every usable scene and its time code location is made by the editor or other news person. If the story is to be aired live, the signal is routed from the master receiving console in the newsroom to the master control area. The electronic news coordinator is in instant communications with the master control area, and he tells them when to interrupt programming. The immediacy of live electronic news requires that you have an efficient system for interrupting normal programming. We work it this way. The news coordinator makes the initial decision since he is the man closest to the team in the field. If he decides a news event is big enough to interrupt normal programming procedures, he'll give the team a tentative go-ahead for a program interrupt. The news director is then brought into the decision-making process. If these two agree, the news coordinator and the news director, then management is brought in with the recommendation that we interrupt programming. Of course, management can veto that decision, but since October, when we started electronic news, management has never vetoed a decision by the news department to interrupt our normal programming schedules. To coordinate live and taped stories, a top-notch communication system is vitally important. A 2-channel radio operation allows 1 channel for dispatch, the other channel for engineering microwave signal alignment. We gin-lock with the van so we can use the live picture through a picture window-like chroma wall. Stuart Hamilton is at the Capitol now with our live action cam, and Stuart, fill us in on what happened there today.
Well, Chris, it's all boiled down to a Senate subcommittee now, and they met for about 8 hours up in the old office of Lieutenant Governor John Wilder in the Capitol.
Communications from the director is thus essential so the cameraman can frame his picture properly for the chroma shot. The cameraman is listening to on-air sound through one side of a stereo headphone, and the director of the newscast through the other by way of the engineering radio channel. The reporter is provided with off-air sound. This allows him to take his cue smoothly and, if the feed is in a regular newscast, talk to the anchorman. Not all stories are big enough to interrupt regular programming. Routine stories, as we've mentioned, are either taped on the scene and microwaved in later or fed in live. When taping of a routine story is completed, the cassette is given to news personnel for editing. This is done at a console equipped with 2 2850 helical machines interfaced to a Datatron Model 5050 timecode editor. Editing is simple. Portions of the master tape are electronically spliced to other portions with frame accuracy using the SMPTE timecode. We can make audio and video edits, audio only, or video only edits. Stories are edited on individual cassettes, thus allowing for maximum flexibility in changing the lineup to conform to late breaking events. Playback of the final edited news stories comes from the master receiving console on cue from the director of the newscast. The net result is an instant live look unobtainable with film. Our experience in electronic news has shown us several advantages of this system of covering the day's events, but 2 major advantages stand out. First, the ability to cover news events live, and because videotape is reusable, the ability to cover events in their entirety instead of the old film method of turning the camera on every time you felt something important might be said or done. This has its biggest advantage in covering sports. Games can be fed to the newsroom live for recording. The major plays shot sheeted, and by the early evening newscast, a 4 or 5 minute capsule of the game is on the air, complete with every major play in sequence. The competition, if they have anything, has a typical hit-or-miss film clip of whatever action was available during the first quarter of play. Speeches can be recorded in their entirety, just in case the unexpected happens.
They're the place we put people whose traditions were noble and proud, who never knew what a nursing home was or a jail, who had a spiritual basis which we've long since given up with all our pretensions on Sunday mornings, who are finer and more decent people than most of us, and whom we... Come here, you coward. Let him go on. What was it? Pie? I'm going to leave it up here, so it's good to see.
The governor got it yesterday.
Huh?
The governor got it yesterday.
It's all right. In Toronto 2 years ago, I got sucked with a water pitcher. So I'll go on. If the pie doesn't disturb you, it won't disturb me.
And during major breaking stories, the ability to cover events live is a major advantage. But with our smaller cameras, with window ledge microwave, you're not limited to a hallway or an office. You can go just about anywhere where the action is with a minimum of setup. This mobility proved itself once again during our morning talk show when we were able to show live a breast biopsy. We were able to move from the operating room where the biopsy was performed to the lab where it was tested to the family where the good news that there was no malignancy found was given to them. One word of caution, electronic news gathering can be dangerous. One of our first live stories on a newscast came from the city council meeting. The reporter, still accustomed to the old film stand-up technique learned on live television, he was speaking a little too loudly.
Resolution was made in light of rising electric bills that we're paying. Yes, sir. Just a second, sir. It was made in light of those rising electric bills. The council says it wants to find out if NES is really justified in its recent rate hikes. And that's it from here, Chris, and we'll be seeing you later.
We may have seen television's first live arrest. We don't know, but we'll try to bail Don out. Don, that was a very good report. Nashville's finest is really doing their job, and we're proud of them, too. Okay.
Of course, instances like you have just seen help make the electronic camera's reputation for bringing news live and unedited. We found that it took 3 or 4 months of heavy promotion in order for the public to fully understand how the electronic camera works and what this total system can mean to their daily television news viewing habits. And once they understood that, then we started getting calls in the newsroom and at the switchboard from people wanting to know when we would have live pictures of this event or that event on the air. It's a great opportunity, of course. It's a great responsibility, too. But this total electronic news system, we feel, makes television news a whole new ballgame in markets our size as well as the larger markets.